Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Julia Johnson, and today's video I'm basically just going to explain where I've been for the last few months. I want to start off by saying that I am not quitting YouTube. I love YouTube. It is good for my soul. It makes me happy, and I love getting to know you guys in the comments. I did basically have to step back the last few months of last year and the first few months of this year, and I will let you know why, but I am back. So yeah, let's just get right into the video and I'll explain. So first of all, if you are new, definitely hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of cleaning videos, mommy videos, and just kind of like everyday life. But I'm trying to think when the last, I feel like I posted through the summer, and then after that I kind of was posting very slowly throughout, and I didn't really want to make a video about why, because I just felt very, very dramatic. But yeah, I want to explain where I've been now. And I actually had filmed a video in December explaining what was going on, because I kind of knew next steps at that point, and it was way too chatty and I was annoying myself, so I'm gonna try to make this a little bit short and sweet as I continue to babble. Anyway, so I basically, starting in August, I just started having a ton of sinus infections, over and over and over and over. And I've always, anytime I've had a sinus infection, if you've never had one, for me they feel like cold on steroids kind of thing, but I was told that I probably have them worse than most, but I had so much pain throughout my whole face that it was any kind of movement, especially leaning forward, just felt like somebody was hitting me in the head with a hammer, and I felt so sick all over. I would rather have the flu than a sinus infection. They just hit me so hard. So I started out, I was having one every month, so every 3 to 4 weeks I would get a new one. And I had switched doctors in this time period, and I've always been told, I've had issues with them in the past. My nose has always felt really stuffed, that's what I always just called it, stopped up, or stuffy. But I've always been told that it was allergies, and I live in a state that has, if you have allergies, I don't know anybody that doesn't have allergies that lives here. We have so much wind. Our weather changes 4 times throughout the day. Literally this morning it was 45 and now it's 65, and there's extreme wind. It's just, everything grows here, which is great, but if you have allergies, sorry about you. So that's pretty much my previous doctors I'd asked before. Every time I went in, they were like, wow, you are so impacted. This is such a bad sinus infection. You need to come in sooner. I always felt like I went in the day after symptoms started. So I was always confused by that, but anytime I asked, how do I prevent this, it was kind of just well, sorry, you have allergies, you live where you live, suck it up kind of thing. But I had them spread out enough that it wasn't that big of a deal. So I started getting them every single month. And over this last year, I have noticed that my allergies with everything have gotten really bad. I've had really bad eczema flare-ups where I never used to get anything on my face. I've had so many eczema flare-ups, reactions to that. I actually had a really bad reaction to allergy medication. Only me, I feel like. And so I have to be careful with what I take, and also I was having that. So I've noticed all year that every kind of allergy that I have has gotten much worse, which is just, my doctors just said, as you get older, that just happens kind of thing, and things can be dormant in your system for a while, and just, anytime you have a hormone change, anytime you enter a new phase of life, developmentally, you start getting older and everything, then it can just cause it to flare up. So, yay. Anyway, so my allergies have gotten really bad this year. Well, basically, I had gotten a new doctor right around when I had 2 back-to-back sinus infections. And so she was like, is this normal for you? I didn't even ask her, because I was so used to people telling me that allergies, that's what my problem was my entire life. And she was just like, is this normal for you? You should not have 2 back-to-back, but it has been a pretty bad season, so I just want to make sure, since you're a new patient. said, well, I mean, maybe, I don't know if I have them back to back this often. I don't normally necessarily go in, but since COVID and symptoms to this are similar, I want to make sure that I come in every single time and check that I don't have COVID and I'm not contagious or anything like that. And so I did do that. I did verify, I did get diagnosed every single time that it was a sinus infection. I didn't have the flu, I didn't have COVID. I didn't even really have a cold, like it was sinus infections from allergy type stuff. So don't worry, I did check. But anyway, so she was the first person that was really like, this is not normal, you shouldn't live this way. You don't need to be suffering this bad if you have allergies. Because once I hit 3, she said, okay, 1 more and I'm sending you to an ENT. If you have more than 4 in a full calendar year, you should go just to make sure, because generally there's something else going on. And so that was the first doctor that had told me, like, no, this is not normal. And so yeah, so like probably I would say the last 5 years, every time I've gone, I've asked, why is it so bad? And they said, I don't know, figure it out at home. So I'm really grateful for that doctor for telling me that, you know, no, you shouldn't have to deal with all this stuff. So anyway, so I go to an ENT. Basically, I've had like 5 sinus infections at this point by the time I could actually get in to see the ENT, and this was in the course of like 3 months. So I was having them every month. I had 2 back-to-back like months, and then it switched to every 3 weeks, and then switched to every 2 weeks. And by 2 weeks, I mean like I would get the start of an infection, and they typically would last for about 10 days, even with finish my round of antibiotics, and then I'd have about maybe like 5 to 6 days, and then I would start a new one. So basically went from being like annoying to being super frustrating to like actually hindering like my day-to-day life, because I felt like all I could do was literally what I needed to do for the kids and then just like rest, because I felt so sick all the time. And again, I didn't want to post about it because I just felt super dramatic. I was like, there are people that are having, you know, life-threatening illnesses or like chronic illnesses, and I'm just having sinus infections. So so I felt weird talking about it, but also I ended up just pulling back because I just needed to focus on the kids and everything like that, because I basically was either sick with a sinus infection, on antibiotics, which made me feel sick also because they mess with my stomach, they mess with, they were making my like acid reflux flare back up. I'm normally really conscious about my gut health because I've had issues in the past with like acid reflux, so I'm really conscious about that, and it was like destroying all of that that I've been building up for years. So it was making me feel sick that way, causing all kinds of eczema flare-ups, or I was literally just like having a few days of recovering from all of that, and then it would start over again. So I felt like my body was so fatigued. I lost like 13 pounds, which I was had just hit my like goal of like, I don't necessarily need to lose anymore, like after having my second baby. So it was like not the best, like it just made me feel really fatigued. So anyway, so basically I went to the ENT, and he looked at everything, and he was like, I need to do a CT on you based on what you've got going on. He said, I do think your allergies are extremely severe. So he thought that I either, you know, I had like an abscess in my nose that popped, which was just disgusting. He thought maybe that I was having like reoccurring, like the antibiotics were taking everything, like kind of getting rid of the symptoms, but maybe it wasn't getting rid of the full infection. And he did say, he was like, I think your allergies are extremely severe, and he said, we just kind of need to see, like, you have really bad allergies, do you have something wrong with your anatomy, like what's going on? So he was like, I just need to get a CT. And I was at the end of a sinus infection right then, so he was like, I'm not even going to scope your nose, which I'm thankful for, because I think it would have been painful because I was still like sore. And he was like, I need to see a CT first. Because he was like, I kind of have an idea of what it might be, but like, I don't even want to go into it until I need to kind of basically cut out a couple of things and rule some things out. So, but he did say, he was like, but I want you to take antibiotics for 2 more full weeks. I was on the very last day of that round of antibiotics, so I'd done a full week. So I want you to continue those for 2 more weeks because I think that he was like, there might be some infection that is not going away. And so let's just see if we can like knock it out. I want to make sure there's no infection on the CT and then see if you get another one. If you get another one right away, like normal, then we'll know it's new. And if you don't, then like maybe there was just stuff in there that just wasn't cleared out originally. So I was kind of like, okay, that'd be great. Well, I have, I actually had 2 of my in-laws that had similar stuff done that like had to have some procedures like to clean some things out, like different stuff that I was kind of like, just kind of assumed like, okay, those pathways are probably just clogged and they may have to do that, like worst case scenario. So I go back, I was like religious with my antibiotics every single day because CTs are not cheap and I was not gonna have to go back and do that again. So I did that and then took another 2 weeks to get back into the ENT because you guys know any type of specialty type of thing just takes forever to get in. So that was annoying. But I did that and then within those 2 weeks I got another sinus infection. It was really bad. I felt horrible. Like I had gone in to see my regular doctor, so I do know for sure it was a sinus infection. And so when I was talking with him, he asked me, he was like, okay, only question I have is have you had any issues since I saw you, or since the CT? So yep, I had another one exactly 6 days after I finished my antibiotics, like always. I said, okay, that's the only question I had left, and just going into what I'm about to tell you, just remember that you are having new sinus infections every single time, and I was on like number 8, I think at the time, in 4 months. 4 months. I think this was like a 5-month total thing. Anyway, so I was like, okay. So he said, let's go take a look at the CT. He said, I want to show you everything first, and then we'll come back in here and I'll kind of discuss game plan and stuff like that, but I want you to see what I'm talking about. And he said, because you've got a lot of anatomy issues at play. And the second he said that, I was like, great, that means surgery, because you can't change anatomy with medicine. But I was thinking like, okay, you're just gonna clear out the pathways, like, or passage, whatever that's called. Like, I already had that in my head. Like, we're talking worst case scenario here, but okay, whatever. So we go in and he's showing me all this stuff, and I literally walk in and I've never seen a CT of sinuses. I can read a dental x-ray, but I can't read any other kind of x-ray. But I literally looked at it and I was like, oh, I hope that's what it's supposed to look like, because that looks real funky. And Dylan was with me, but he was holding Bryce. And so he kind of was like messing with him, and then he looks up and he was like, whoa, you got a pretty deviated septum there. I was like, dang it. The ENT's like, because Dylan knows how to read him. But anyway, so yeah, so it was pretty crooked. And so he was like, yeah, you have a deviated septum. And then I had like 4 other things. Basically just my anatomy was off. So stuff in the sides of my sinus cavity, like all kinds of stuff. I had some, he ended up going in the day of surgery. He kind of couldn't tell until he was like, I'll see when I'm in there, but getting some polyps out like at the top of my sinuses. He reconstructed a couple of things, like shaved some stuff down, took a sac out, like did all this kinds of stuff. Anyway, basically he told me that I was going to need to have surgery. But anyway, so basically I needed a septoplasty and a turbinate reduction. I had a really enlarged turbinate, and basically everything, he actually looked, he was like, I thought you were going to need your pathway, whatever that is called, I still don't remember, cleared out, which is what I had assumed because of people I knew that had that done. And he was like, nothing is even getting to that point because everything is so off in your nose that it can't even get there. So basically any sort of allergens that were going like in my nose would just get stuck in there and have absolutely nowhere to go. So they had nothing, nothing was going to happen other than they were going to turn into an infection, because like even doing sinus rinses, like nothing, like it would help a little bit, but it wasn't coming out. So basically he was like, okay, you don't really have an option. You have to do the surgery because there's no other way to fix it, and you can't, like, I'm not doing antibiotics anymore, like you cannot be on anything else. So in January, we literally went on vacation in December for Christmas, got back, had 1 day in between, and the very next day, because I had to line it up with Dylan's work, and when he could like take off, because I was down. They were like, you're gonna be down for a full week. Had surgery. He so broke the septum bone and cartilage and did all that, repositioned it, and like completely shaved down a couple of turbinates, shaved down some other sort of thing in my sinuses, got another thing on the other side, went up to the very top, got stuff out of there. Like literally everything is out. So yeah, so I have a reconstructed sinus cavity pretty much in full, and I feel so good. I can't tell you how crazy it was the day of surgery even. I remember coming home, sitting on the couch. One of the only things that I remember telling Dylan, I can breathe better out of my right side of my, like out of the side of my nose than I've ever been able to in my life. I was like, I've never been able to breathe out of that side. It was like, you can breathe, you're not supposed to be able to breathe today. I was like, I can breathe better than I could, yes. And then it started swelling more, and that was not the case for the next few days, but it was just a weird, like, I can feel air going in and out of there. I didn't have that before, so it's crazy things that you don't realize because you just don't know any different. Like, I had no idea because that's all I knew, so yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I got that fixed. It's now been in January, like the first week of January. It is now the end of March, so it's been like 2 months. That bone isn't fully, last time I went in, he said it looked really good and still in place exactly where he wants it, but it's not fully set, which is a little bit annoying. I mean, it makes sense. It's a bone, so there's that. And it's pretty protected. It's not like my nose bone. It's that midline septum in between, so he said probably 1 more month or so. I think my next appointment, he said he thought it would probably be good, just based off of like what he's seeing now. But guys, I can already breathe so much better, and it's just gotten better week by week. And my allergies have been crazy, and I still have so many issues. Like, I can tell my allergies are insane. And he did tell me that before. He's like, obviously you're still gonna have the allergies. It's not gonna fix any of that, but at least we'll have somewhere to go. And yeah, I'm not getting infections. I can get it out. Sinus rinses for the win. So I have been feeling amazing, and I feel like I can breathe twice as good. So my energy is just like fantastic now. I feel like it just made such a huge difference. So I'm really glad that I got that fixed. But anyway, that's why I have not posted much. I was pretty much just down for the count. And then since having it done, like, I would say a good 6 weeks, I was still very swollen. Like, my nose, I feel like right at 6 weeks, I was like, if my nose looks like this for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be pissed. Because it was like, a part of it was like, the side of it was swollen, so it looked like this weird, like, I don't know, I feel like it looked like I had a witch's nose for a while, because it was like this extreme, like right here, which is, I already have a bump there, but it was like real swollen. And yeah, but anyway, it's getting better. But it felt really, really stuffy, so I still was kind of like, you know, you're over it in a week. I actually pushed it a little bit too much on week number 2 and had extreme bleeding for like 4 hours. Went in and they had to like recauterize stuff and get rid of a scar band. It was not a fun time. I actually passed out. Not from pain, just because of the the nerve reaction, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it was a whole thing. So I took it easy a little bit after that because I didn't want to have that happen again. But anyway, so I'm feeling really good now. I'm kind of getting back to my normal schedule, and yeah, Dylan's been traveling a lot for work, so we're kind of like, he got a promotion, which is amazing, but we just kind of were like getting used to like new schedule and things like that. But now I feel pretty on track, ready to get back into it, and I'm excited. So if you are new, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I post a lot of like cleaning videos, motherhood videos, food. I will be doing a like surgery vlog. I try to vlog quite a bit of it. Most of it is on my phone. Half of it I am just high as a kite on pain meds, so it could be fun. I don't really know. I haven't looked much into the footage, so could make sense, could not. But I will at least show you. I did some like the highlights of that on there. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!
like you're fed up with heartbreak, and you know that you can't